As the world leaders continue to mourn the death of President Ibrahim Raisi, the Iranian embassy in Abuja also wears a lackluster look. More importantly at this time is what the death of President Ibrahim means to the world politics and peace efforts in the Middle East. Moyo Thomas reports.
This is the Iranian flag at the embassy in Abuja, already lowered at half-mast in honor of President Ibrahim Raisi and his delegation that died in the chopper crash. It is certain the people of Iran will miss President Raisi. As Iran stands as one to grieve, these global affairs analysts agree the world will indeed miss President Raisi because of the role he played in the Middle East.
It is very obvious that Ibrahim Raisi is a figure, a very important figure. He has also led to the Iranian rapprochement with countries in the Gulf, where there is a substantial suspicion of Iranian motives. The Gulf states, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, there has been significant rapprochement. And so he will be terribly missed.
He's a man who has forged a lot of alliances for the people of Iran, particularly in recent times. We saw before now the deep-rooted, deep-seated, and very fragile and frail relations between Iran and most states, not just in the West, but even in the East. But in recent times, we've seen intervention. We've seen a lot of bi- and multilateral relations being established under Raisi's administration and with the support of his foreign minister, who unfortunately also died with him.
Iran is also one of the countries that stood strong in solidarity with Palestine in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war.
There will be nothing, there will be no significant change with the passing of Raisi. If there is anything, there will be a more reinforcement.
His demise will have significant impact as far as the region is concerned, as far as the ongoing massacre in Gaza is concerned, as far as his the relationship between Iran as an entity and Israel is concerned, and so on and so forth.
President Ibrahim Raisi will also be remembered for the peace he was able to forge with Saudi Arabia, with China playing the mediation, thereby charting a path for peace in the Middle East. As contained in the Constitution of Iran, the Vice President can only act in the capacity of a president for 50 days, after which election must be conducted and a new president emerge. Hopefully, Iran will conduct election within this period and will have another president. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
For more update, Director Center for China Studies Charles Onunaju joins me on the news. Good to have you join us. President, or the former president now, Ibrahim Raisi, had a very complex relationship with some world leaders, and also just, it was also plagued by tensions within his country. We saw that protest in Iran for a while. How do you think that his death will shape Iran's politics? Do you envisage any sort of power struggle as the country prepares for election?
Well, to be sincere, Iran has a system that is well framed up, that is stable, and has a pattern of succession that is deeply rooted. Of course, like you know, Islamic Republic was founded in 1979 after the Islamic Revolution, and they have developed some stable political process. So I do not think that there's always this talk of factions, what people call hardline reformists. These are all labels, of course, provided by Western analysts, Western political establishment about reformists and hardliners. Of course, there are degrees of understanding, and there are degrees to which people are committed to certain deals, certain ideas, certain policies. But in the overall, there is a consensus, a popular general consensus of the Iranian society. One, on the framework of political system they have chosen, which is Islamic pluralism, Islamic democracy. And more importantly, there is a consensus on policy. And you have critical institutions of Iranian society that is responsible for most of these things. So I do not expect any upset. Of course, Raisi is a very important figure in Iranian history, in Iranian contemporary history. He will be terribly missed. As you could see, the nation of Iran is united in grief. It's very obvious. He's a very important figure who has had all his life devoted to the Islamic Republic.
If I may quickly comment, Mr. Onunajude, sorry for butting in, but I wanted to look at this again in a broader context of the region. Iran has been, escalating its influence in the region, and that influence now runs wide and deep. How will this also reverberate, in the Middle East?
Under Raisi, there has been considerable rapprochement with the famous rapprochement with Saudi Arabia, the famous Sunni power, and Iran, the famous Shia power in the Middle East. The rapprochement of these two countries, with China supporting the process and consolidating the process, is quite remarkable, and this was under Raisi, of course, and even to the Gulf countries, the Oman, Qatar, smaller Gulf countries that are most times deeply suspicious of Iran because of their fear for exportation of Shiite revolution. I think Raisi has considerably reached out, and there is a considerable understanding within the region that they have to find a way of coexisting. I think that we have seen considerable stability. And of course, Raisi involvement in Syria, ensuring Syria did not burst, Syria did not melt down. These are significant influence of Iran. And of course, what they call the axis of resistance, consisting of some forces resisting the Israeli expansionist policy in the Middle East. You have Hezbollah, you have the Iranian, you have the Iraqi Shiite. What we see is that the region, we miss this significant statesman.
Absolutely.
But I can assure you, Iran, the region will meet this significant statesman.
And Iran has continued to play a very significant role in terms of religion. And we've seen that comment, even from mixed reaction, even from people within Iran and outside of Iran. Thank you so much for your analysis. Director